We can't say the future without AI. I mean, there's no way around it. 50% of workers now believe AI is going to improve their experience. When I come into the meeting room, I need a way to incorporate my AI with what's going on in the meeting. It's almost a bring your own AI type of a concept. Most of what we do in our day-to-day is going to change significantly.
Hear the latest AV trends and predictions in this episode of Crestron's Smarter Spaces podcast on your preferred podcast platform.
AV to me is a little like the mafia. It always pulls us back in.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Because you see people and they leave us and then we're heartbroken. And, 9 times out of 10, knock wood, they do come back.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Why are so many AV companies laying off folks? And the future and use case of transparent LEDs. All that and more. Next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 652, recorded Friday, February 16th, 2024. Transparent micro LEDs. This is AV Week, the weekly wrap-up of the biggest AV news and information that we have gathered. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week. First and foremost, Adaline Tatum from USC. How are you, ma'am?
Hi, everyone. I am doing well, thank you. My name is Adaline Tatum, USC.
Also with us is Garth Lobban, a young man I got to hang out with in Barcelona from Atlona. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Tim. Hello, everybody.
And last but not least, Michelle Loret from ViewSonic in the great state of Texas. Welcome, ma'am.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Really quickly before we get into the stories, Mitchell, our fantastic producer and all-around good editor, just posted, we're recording this on Friday, just posted the AVNation Reader's Choice Awards results. Those are live. I'll say this again. Congratulations to all of the winners except for Chris Neto. First story, layoffs in the AV industry. Holy crap, everybody's losing their job. Zoom is set to lay off around 150 employees globally, including members of its diversity, equity, and inclusion, their DEI team. The cuts come as technology companies pare back hiring and spending in the face of economic uncertainty. I'm going to put quotes around that economic uncertainty, and we'll get back to a reason why in a second. Zoom said that while it was restructuring some areas, it remained committed to DEI principles being, quote unquote, firmly rooted in the company's cultures. This news follows similar workforce reductions at Meta, Google, Amazon, and Twitter. Cisco has also announced a reduction, eliminating 5% of their workforce, amounting to 4,000 jobs. I don't care if it's 4,000 or it's 5%. Both of those numbers are significant. Now, yes, there are 4,000 individuals and families that are going to be significantly negatively impacted on this, right? And I do feel sorry for those. And if you're one of those folks, reach out. We all got networks. Use your network. Use this network. Seriously, guys. In January, Dan Feldstein, CEO of Crestron, stated that their company had gone through a reduction that impacted, quote unquote, a small portion of their overall staff. Feldstein did not say in the Commercial Integrator article what the percentage was, nor did he give a number. This is an overarching question. Over the last 3 or 4 months, there have been a reduction in workforce, which is a fancy way of saying people are losing their jobs. Adaline, I'm going to start with you on this. Generically, what is going on in the industry, in IT, in AV, and in technology that is causing this reduction and making companies freak out to the point that they're saying we need to start, reducing overhead, and the easiest way for them to do it, it seems, is reducing headcount?
That's a great question. I personally think that industries need to do a deeper dive into how they do their interviewing process, how they hire, because sometimes it feels as though you hire people based on who you know, or their educational background. But there are people that are experienced or teachable, like in AV. When we hire, for example, our student workers, we let them know, yeah, you don't have to be a computer science major. We can teach you. What we need you to learn in the technical part, we need you to be a customer friendly individual.
Yeah.
You need to have that PR skill. So I think that companies need to really evaluate their own bylaws and their own hiring processes so that they can ensure that they're being fair, professional, but at the same time, not hiring people and then letting them go. Because our economy seems to be getting better, and then the top companies, are letting go of people, and then I am a DEI queen. Hello, why are you picking on my people? Like, because the whole George Floyd situation seems to be dying down. Now it's okay for you to go back to your old ways. No, it's not. And I must say, Elon Musk quoted it well. Discrimination needs to die. Treat people fairly. If they're as qualified as anyone else in this, or you could teach them, be that leader to teach, because they mightn't be qualified either, but people are teachable. You have to give them a chance.
This may be the first time that anybody has ever quoted Elon Musk, Adaline. So there you go. Garth, same question. What the heck's going on?
Well, we've got an interesting backdrop going on here. If we look at the overall tech sector from 2022 to 2023, we've lost 400,000 jobs, and 34,000 jobs we've lost this year with the Cisco numbers that you reported earlier.
Yep.
When you look at this in terms of the entire U.S. economy, in a marketplace report I was listening to last night, they were talking about this being a drop in the bucket for our overall economy. That's scary when you think about that, but our economy is very large. The number of people that we employ in the United States is quite large. So for us in the tech sector, seeing such large numbers is pretty alarming. And they're also at what we want to call these aspirational companies. You mentioned it, your Cisco's, your Zooms, your Microsoft, even the mighty Crestron, right? Having a reduction in force. So a couple of things going on here. When you look at, first of all, we had a lot of people employed over the COVID era to deal with business that we were doing in that manner. And the people that we brought in at that time to do business in that manner, we now have to get to a point where we have to sort of right size our companies for the profit levels that we want to be at for the type of business that we're doing. Consumers have been keeping the products purchased. They've been keeping the Amazons going. They've been keeping the economy going. All the consumers who aren't reading the newspaper every day saying a recession is about to happen, they're the ones who've been keeping the economy going. But at the same time, we're now all seeing our grocery bills much higher, and that's hitting us at the retail level, and all of us are nodding right now because we're all feeling that. Well, it's happening at the company level too. It's finally getting to the point where the suppliers, the manufacturers are having to deal with the fact products are still hard to get and they're pricier to get. And we have to invest a lot of money in our technologies to get the next generation of products out. What is concerning, however, is the number of DEI jobs that seem to be going. That's happening also across a broader business backdrop, right? So companies like Zoom, they invested in DEI, as you reported, as a result of the whole George Floyd debacle, right? We have to start doing a better job in being diverse and inclusionary. So when you look at Zoom, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they've not really said anything more than what we've seen in the Bloomberg report, that we are going to be committed to this, but we're going to, now that we've got it to a certain point, we're now going to be using an outside force to do it, or an outside company to do it. We have to take that at face value. What does that mean? Have they gotten that ball rolling? The ball's rolling, and now they're going to use an outside agency. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because, like Panduit, my parent company, it is ingrained in our culture, our DEI, and all of our other programs that we have in place, from empowering women's success to the programs that we have called Mosaic, where we have different cultures and races coming together and talking about this, and the mentoring programs that we have. So if I take a look at what I know, my company, we're still committed to it. We're still moving forward to it. Maybe Zoom has found a way. All right, we've got to the point. It's all part of what we talk about. Let's get this outside firm who's better at doing this, moving it forward. I'm a hopeful guy, and I'm hoping that's what they're doing. And it's not a broader DEI must die from Musk. I mean, that just needs to go away. That mindset just needs to go away.
Yeah, it goes back to the 80s where, and I'll just use the quote. It's from Reagan, trust but verify, right? You trust them going into this, but you got to, folks like me have got to verify it every 6, 9, 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle, I'm going to turn the corner here a little bit. Enough about doom and gloom and everybody losing their job. If you were talking to one of these folks, one of these thousands of folks that are now looking for their next opportunity, where are the best opportunities to look for in AV or in technology?
Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. I'd like to go on the permanent record that I really like your haircut, by the way. I think you look very handsome and you
If you're
clean up
not watching the
nice.
video, right,
Yeah.
I did cut a
Um,
couple of my long hairs.
yes, yes. Locks of love, Tim.
Yeah, there we
Locks of
go.
love. Um, it's interesting. The company I work for is the largest minority-owned large display manufacturer in the country. So we're kind of an American, immigrant success story. And I do find it interesting. Even my own company did layoffs in the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
I think that was more because they're a California-based company, and when you see Fang laying off, I think they were a little bit more sensitive because it seems more doomy and gloomy when it's a lot of these big, large enterprise customers that are doing those layoffs. Um, but I got hired in July of 2023, so they went, oh, maybe it's not so bad. And I listen to Planet Money, and I like the jobs report. I get excited when I hear the horn and in the earning reports. I think it's because we're in an election year. Every 4 years, I complain about it being an election year, and I'm like, why is it always like this in an election year, right? It's crazy. I am a former recruiter, so before I got into the low voltage world, and I've sold Panduit before, Garth. I was in structured cabling, go layer one. Before I went to what they call the dark side, I call the bright side of blinky lights. I love me some active electronics. Um, and I've been a little shocked, dismayed, disappointed to see all the layoffs starting towards the end as I was getting my new job, right, of last year. Companies literally going, we're just going to cut out all of the central U.S. team. And I'm like, why? You've got a great product. You've got great people that I've worked with at other organizations. Why is this chief revenue officer, which is really a 4-letter word, deciding this? Well, they don't come from Pro AV. I will say that, yes, Q4 was a little soft because we are looking at, certain economic things. Education has very consistent buying cycles. But to your question, in the longest, most roundabout, rambling way, Tim,
Oh, you are not the longest. Bradford Ben isn't even here, so
I
you're
miss
safe.
Bradford. I have to go back and listen to an old episode. But you never know where that next opportunity is going to come from. Most of us fell into AV. I wasn't looking for an AV job when I found one, and I think it's really just being open minded. A lot of people, I think tell the world. I talk to people all the time, like, hey, I don't work at Best Buy. I don't really sell monitors, although I'm telling my AV, integrators, you have access to them along with the interactive flat panels and the LED walls and everything, nothing wrong with a 3,000 unit, bulk buy of monitors. I think it's a networking thing. I think you really need to be open-minded. And I've seen people, I don't know. AV to me is a little like the mafia. It always pulls us back in.
Oh, 100%.
Right, because you see people and they leave us, and then we're heartbroken, and we tweet about it on X, formerly known as Twitter, and and we keep them in tweet storms just to make sure they remember to hate us. But how much fun we can be, and 9 times out of 10, knock wood, they do come back. But I think it's just knowing that there's a place for everybody. There's jobs you don't know exist. If you like high stress and you like real time, you came from the data center world and you're used to 7 nines of uptime. Great. Go do live events. it's a very similar rush, right? Of that mission critical, it got to go live, got to work right now. You know, if you like blinky lights, if you like electronics, if you grew up with a Walkman in the 80s, whatever the case may be, right? If you're a great marketer like Garth, great, come market AV, come learn what we do. If you're in the education space, right? You know, I mean, classrooms don't exist without our technology, right? You know, content is always king, whether it comes to marketing, whether it comes to educating, right? Whether it comes to spreading the word. But, you know, I just think everybody needs to keep an open mind and always look to what Adaline said earlier. Nobody's going to necessarily come with an AV pedigree, right, on their resume. Look at skills that apply to that. And I often look at people's resumes and I redo them. I usually use a template based where you can subscribe to get even better templates called Novo Resume, Novo Resume. And I take what we all had or have, and many still do. It's you're vomiting your life experience on your job onto a page, which is how we did it for decades. All right. Now we just need to look at high level. They're all going to go to your LinkedIn profile. Do your deep dive there, right? Give people bullets, stick it on one page. We don't need to know where you went to high school. We don't know what you did 20 years ago. Great that you were president of Kiwanett's, Michelle. Not relevant. When I interviewed for a position with Atlona as a Kramer employee, it was funny. One of the things they brought up, they said, oh, well, you don't have on your resume that you were the commercial integrator fantasy football champion in 2019. I immediately went back to my resume and added it. I still didn't get the job. I gave Jamie a hard time about that. But I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And it's fun and it's quirky and it's unique. It was a rookie accident. I'm not great at fantasy football. I had my husband pick my team.
And I will really quickly, you don't necessarily need your fantasy football stats unless you're from Texas.
I just put that I was the champion. Craig McCormick did not give me an award. I'm still bitter.
Well,
but
we'll have to talk to him. Really quickly, and we're going to get on to our second story here in a second, but I want to point out something here, and this is 100% Tim, right? This is not, it's one of those disclaimers. This does not reflect the views of AVNation nor our owners, CTI. Economic uncertainty, and I'm going to take 60 seconds here, Mitchell. Economic uncertainty. That's what a lot of these folks are pointing to. And I call BS. And here's the reason I call BS. Because a lot of these manufacturers, and I'm not going to call them, a lot of these manufacturers, they set budgets every year and they set goals every year, right? And their goals every year is based on the previous year's performance. And these folks have had 40, 50% growth year over year. And so now they're suddenly looking down at their spreadsheets going, oh, wait, well, we didn't grow 50%. And so we're not going to make our target. Well, no kidding, you're not going to make your target because your target's BS. And so because they're not making their target, they're laying people off. There's your economic uncertainty. That's Tim's opinion. You can yell at me about it later. So I don't know if it's accurate.
Totally agree.
That's my 2 cents. All right.
Hello, this is Steve Greenblatt, host of AVNation's A State of Control podcast. Each month, Rich Fregosa and I explore trending topics related to control, programming, and automation in the audiovisual industry. We speak with a variety of AV professionals who share their perspectives, knowledge, and experiences. Please join us for this monthly conversation. Check out A State of Control on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right. Second story, and it's going to be our last one, but it's a fun one. Samsung has taken off the wraps of a pioneering new television feature featuring a transparent display screen. The South Korean tech giant debuted a working prototype of what it calls a quote-unquote transparent micro LED at ISE 2024. I have learned an awful lot about micro LEDs in the last month. You need to learn more about these kids. It's using a micro LED display system with extremely small light-emitting diode chips to create crystal clear quote-unquote see-through visuals. Micro LED is regarded as a potential successor to current display standards as it does not require backlight and offer true blacks and vivid colors. Now, tech giants like Sony and LG have actually already previously exhibited transparent screen prototypes. Patrick Norton and I saw a number of them at CES this year in Vegas, and incredibly impressive, which leads me to my first question. Garth, I love these things. They're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
What's the use case?
Well, first of all, it's a really cool technology, right? So we've seen that they debuted it at CES. And when you talk to or hear Andrew Douglas, their product manager for LEDs, talk about an interview that he did with Midwich, yeah, it's a prototype. It's not on the roadmap. They're exploring it. But what's really cool about it, Tim, and you kind of hit the tip of the iceberg there, this is based on the wall technology,
Yep.
right? And we've all seen that. We saw that beautiful implementation there at the show and at shows past. So what's also cool about it, by the way, is that it's LED technology and it allows it to be brighter than the current OLED strategy that we have seen other people do with their transparent displays.
Yep.
That is the cool part. Brighter, and you already mentioned the whites and the blacks. Yes. So applications. Now, just off the top of my head, when I saw that, as you did, you probably saw it with the fishbowl concept,
Yep.
right?
So basically what Garth is saying here is there was a solid back behind it and the transparent was in front of it, creating almost like a three-dimensional image.
Right. So the practical implementations of this are two. So as a marketing guy, I see this as an opportunity for retail opportunities. If they can get this to the point where it's durable and reliable and can handle bright sunshine for multiple hours a day, I'm seeing this as something that you could put in front of a display case when you get past the Macy's, when you get past the big department stores.
Yep.
Now you can have information in the foreground grabbing attention, and then either the mannequin or the still frame image behind it showing this in situ, which would be cool. That's one application. The other thing I was thinking about, and I'm going to go back to the fish tank example. Let's imagine you are in a hospitality environment. Let's take a restaurant environment. Now, I have kids, so I grew up taking my kids to this place called the Rainforest Cafe. And one of the hallmarks of this was this ginormous fish tank that spanned the area in which you went into the dining experience.
Yep.
Those are expensive. They take a lot of maintenance. They take a lot of time. There's a lot of expense in keeping that. And then you got the fish in there, right? Imagine a scenario where you didn't have to worry about these things leaking, cracking, getting broken, and you could have a fish tank experience simulated by these tiles. Our friends at Samsung also do these massive displays, and we were going to talk about them in other applications like sporting events. But imagine you take the wall concept, but now it's transparent, and you could have a fish tank experience in your restaurant. Or imagine a hotel lobby where you could have other still life. A lot of hotel lobbies kind of give you this aspirational feel when you walk in there. Beautiful trees and vistas of beaches and everything else. What if that was now a see-through partition that divided the lobby from the restaurant, but gave you something to look at? Maybe it's rustling palm trees or bamboo, and you're thinking, I want to dine over there. And then boom, all of a sudden, there's your graphics to tell you what's available for the rest of the day. I see this as a display opportunity that creates attention and creates interest for the lobbies and venues that it's placed in.
All right, Michelle, same kind of questions. What help me help myself, I guess, because I want these suckers and I want to see them everywhere. What is the use case here?
Well, he's right. Marketing and retail is really the use case. I repped LG when they came out with their transparent OLED. Planar has a white labeled version of the same thing. But the problem was we never wanted someone to demo it. Like I had to argue with the integrator, not argue, strongly suggest that you don't want... For Yeti, their customer was Yeti, and they were really nice people. They were actually a marketing company that does AV because everybody gets into AV a different way. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the problem. It's very expensive to demo. It breaks very easily. And this was transparent OLED, right? Also, it's organic, so we don't call it burn-in anymore. We've grown up to image retention. So you can't have a static image. It's never as vibrant as actual LED, no matter what anybody says. With that said, though, I will say, my buddy Jack Wilshire, he is the American representative, has his own company for Next Novo, and they have a transparent LED. I had first repped it for LG. You could put it on like those glass walls for conference rooms that go to the hallway and do cool stuff. Theirs was Christmas light technology. So if one burned out, a whole string would burn out. Nexnovo doesn't have that issue. I've seen it in clear escalator walls, the sliding doors going into a retail store. So there are a lot of fun opportunities. I don't know if the actual display, because also, I don't know. Yeah, they. I know because my integrators have asked me, the tough questions. What happens if a kid bumps into that LED wall? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have children. I don't bring my dogs to retail stores. How would I know? Let me ask the manufacturer. Now I'm with the manufacturer, and we do direct view LED, but we don't do fun stuff like the transparent. But yeah, Garth was the perfect person to kick that off with, because it's marketing, and he's 100% right. It's retail, but everything is retail, right? The gas pump. Some of us have seen those, we're getting marketed to. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
all of us have, and I can't figure out how to turn them off.
No, I know, yeah. So,
it's annoying.
Garth for the win.
All right,
Yes.
Adaline, you'll wrap us up here. Where do we see this in the real world?
In the real world, I can see it, for example, in our digital space for esports.
Yep.
I think that could be really good. It could be a really attractive way to go to get people into the space. Under education, because I'm an education queen, I can see it as something we will use to encourage students to learn. Like, you could put it in fun areas so that they would want to go into that space and see what's going on. So that would be like a way of pulling them in. So that's how I could see it.
All right, that'll be a good place to stop. For me, for my 2 cents, I agree with Garth. When I saw this at ISC or at CES, I have been to way too many shows already, and it's only February. Macy's was exactly what I thought of. Right, Macy's at Christmas time. Right here in St. Louis, we had a store called Famous and Bar, which was downtown. It has since been bought by Macy's, so it's all Macy's. But it's the same concept, right? You've got these gorgeous street level displays that can be changed at the drop of a hat, or even they can be changed on a timer. You can schedule them, right? So that is certainly one of the areas. The other area I was actually also considering was a different version of education, Adaline, and that is you guys have seen these explainer videos where the instructor has a pane of glass in front of them, and they have these paint markers. Imagine if that pane of glass was actually a transparent display, so you've got moving video and they can write on it at the same time. That just takes education and learning up to another level. So
one more
That's
example
good.
like that, Tim, how about tactical?
Yeah.
If you can write on a transparent LED and it can constantly change its surface, why not have a tactical display where you have an up to the moment either satellite image or some other thing? We've seen it in the movies. We've seen it in Star Wars. They're sitting there mapping out, where the attack is coming from. What if that was robust enough, not that you could just touch it and make it safe for kids and dogs not to hit it, but also safe enough and hardened enough to write on it? There's your tactical display right there. Yeah. So education and military, there's good possibilities there too.
Mimo Monitors partnered with another company to come up with a haptic display that I could not stop talking about, because when you can feel it and you can hear it. So imagine, you've got a knob, because we're all analog folk, right? The decision makers, I will call us, instead of the old folk. So if you can turn that virtual knob and it go click, 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 and you feel the click, 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 or the slider, right?
That's cool.
This is rough. And it was a software company that they partnered with. And that was at ISC. Gosh, Tim, I saw you there, the Amsterdam, what was it, last year, 2019?
2020 was the last year. So it may have been 2019.
Okay, so so maybe it was 20. Yeah, it was 2020 actually. And that was just incredible. Yeah. Love it. So I think that would be cool, Garth.
All right, this will be worth watching, y'all. Thanks so much, Adaline Tatum. How do people connect with you or USC?
You all can connect with me at tatum8@usc.edu or on LinkedIn, Adaline Tatum.
All right, Mr. Lobban, sir. How do people connect with you or Atlona?
You can get a hold of me at garth.lobban@atlona.com. Also on LinkedIn and X and all of your other favorite social media, except TikTok. Not there yet.
Oh, come on, Garth. I'm even on TikTok. All right, Ms. Loret, how do people connect with you or ViewSonic?
They can contact me, Michelle.Loret at ViewSonic.com. I am on LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, because I insist on always saying that. Used to be Vacagin until that and my Instagram got stolen. So I am at Mostly AV, my current defunct podcast.
All right, very good.
Yes, at Mostly AV.
Mostly AV. All right, for us, for me, for Tim Alway, don't follow me anywhere. It's not very interesting. But go by the website if you would, please, avnation.tv.
The Bears.
That's Go Bears at avnation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others, including a number. Mitchell's been very busy this week. He has a new architect podcast coming down the pipeline. He has a new Women in AV. He has EdTech. He's got State of Control. He's been very busy. So check all of those out. Also, as I mentioned at the top of the show, our 2023 AVNation Reader's Choice Awards. Quite frankly, y'all threw me for a loop because we had more votes on this, but over 140,000 votes over the course of the month. I was floored. So thank you, first of all, for voting that much. That is up now. Congratulations to all our winners, everyone except for Chris Netto, who is the AVNation AV Professional of the Year. Tongue firmly in cheek. I love that boy. So seriously, congratulations to him too. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. That's all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AV Nation.